Alright guys, welcome to the last part of this HOO guide with the Prot warrior point of view. Starting off where we left off, killing the third boss. You take the teleporter, it sends you back to that room with the fork in it again. By fork I mean multiple path choices. A lot of people get confused here. You take the same port you appear in and it'll port you up top, and then you'll get to where the last four bosses are. So you basically just click a teleporter twice in a row, and there will be a round room with four separate rooms around it, and each room will have one of the last four bosses in it. If you go straight ahead, you'll be in the room that we're in now, fighting these trash mobs, and this is usually the first boss that people kill just because it's right in front of you. These ads are kind of a pain. They do a lot of magic damage, so you're going to want to be spamming Spell Reflect as you tank them. Stun them as much as you can. The blue portals behind them do shoot a beam. As you can see, you want to make sure you stay out of that beam as best you can. You don't want to get zapped by it. It does quite a bit of damage, and there's already a lot of tank damage there. Just make sure you're interrupting everything you can. Use Conch Blow to stun them, take as little damage as possible. And there'll be two of these trash bowls. Just clear them up quick. Pretty easy to control. Just use your AoE threat abilities the best you can. Cleave and Revenge, and Thunderclap and Shockwave. In situations like these, I am using the Ren Thunderclap trick, though I'm not sure how effective it is. And you see me kiting them just because I know I can. Desecration and Shockwaves gives me a chance to get away from them, create some distance, and when they get close, I be cheap, use Charge and Heroic Leap to kite some more. It's a pretty nice combo. It's a really effective way of kiting mobs now that we have Heroic Leap warriors. Though I'm sure kiting isn't going to be very applicable in raid situations. The option is there, as you just saw. And we'll be moving on to this boss. Now, this boss is pretty hard as a tank. The first time I came in here, I thought it was funny that the guy who was telling us how to do all these fights was like, yeah, this one's pretty easy. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool, tank is fine. What he meant was this one's pretty easy for everybody except for the tank. The reason for this is she splits, and she spawns quite a few ads, and you have very little time to get aggro before they start killing everybody. Now my computer did lag a bit here if I remember, but there we go. As soon as you pull, she'll spawn one little ad. Then she's gonna do a move called Supernova, which you have to look away from, like the TOC guy, or it does a lot of damage. Usually while I'm tanking, anytime she makes me look away, I use that time to position myself so that I can still face that ad, and I will just kill it myself. And yeah. Then she will split into three like you're seeing right now. You want to be quick on grabbing all three. It's an important thing to note, they all have separate threat tables. You only need to kill one though. So it's a good idea to tell your DPS beforehand which one you want them to kill so you know which one to build threat on. Once you kill one, she'll go back to her original form. This is pretty hard. You need to run around, and Thunderclap tends to not be enough to out-threat heals, so you have to manually hit them all yourself. And they're not stunnable, so Shockwave isn't a good way to lower damage. Make sure you get downward shot on them. Once you kill all three and she reforms, she'll summon 2 sparks the second time around. Same thing though, once she supernovas, you see me turn and start burning them. Spell Reflect works on them. DPS don't usually switch them because DPS like the tunnel vision. Then she'll split into 2 this time. You'll notice the one you killed the first time isn't there anymore. So it's a lot easier to pick them up the second time around. And then same thing, build threat on the one you want the DPS to kill. I'm not sure if which one you kill has an effect on what ability she uses. I haven't done this boss enough to mess around with that. But it's not noticeable if it does. Just make sure you're controlling the ads as best you can. Keep your demo shot and thunderclap debuffs up to make healing easier. And once she reforms the second time, she won't be spawning any more ads. You just need to make sure you're turning around for the supernovas, and you will have a kill on her. she likes to shoot out arcane bolts at people in your party, so healers will have to watch out for that. Other than that, I guess it is easy. Unless you're tanking, it's pretty easy. It could just be hectic sometimes when you have DPS who like to go crazy. Anyway, I'm going to skip ahead, because we had some downtime there, to the next room. It's the same circle, it's just another room. Exact same looks and everything in the room, it's just different ads. It's a different theme to it. This one has two poles like this. We've already done one, I'm skipping here. It has a dryad and a tentacle with a spore on its head. The dryad will try to cast tranquility, so you want to kill her first. The little sprouts have no threat table, so you can try to hold them on you, but you're not going to have much luck. Just prioritize keeping the more dangerous mobs on you and stun the blood petal thingy mobs as much as you can to stop them from doing damage. Once you kill that tentacle, it'll drop that spore like that. Spore doesn't do much, it just drops a little orange cloud on the ground you want to get out of quickly after it dies. And then we move on to the third last boss of this instance. His abilities are a little bit confusing to me at this point, but he likes to spawn these little plants. You'll see they're incredibly hard to spot, and they have no health bars. What I do as a tank to kill them, because I've noticed DPS haven't really gotten used to this instance yet, it's still new. You tend to have to do everything yourself, especially when you can't tell other people what to do. Just use tab target for me to find them, because they're insanely tiny if you watch. The best way to get them targeted and start killing them is to tab onto them, and then you'll see their health, not their health rather, you'll see their name in red, and then you just go over and beat them down a bit. If you don't kill those sprouts, they will grow into ads, and it just gets messy from there. Aside from that, he's doing a life drain ability. Every time he does it, he increases his energy by 20. When he gets to 100 energy, he does this explosion thing, I believe. And right there, we just let an ad grow, and there's the spore running around. He also gets a buff from draining people. It increases his attack speed, I believe. And he casts a move called Wither. I should probably pay attention next time I do this fight, so I know what Wither does, but for the most part, I'm just focusing on keeping those plants under control, killing them so not too many ads spawn, and keeping Demo and Thunderclap up on the boss while the DPS kill stuff. The rogue here knew what he was doing, he was helping me kill the ads, which is refreshing. And the life drain itself doesn't do a lot of damage. He'll pick a target and stun them and lift them into the air. And right there, he just did the explosion move when he got full energy. So yeah, everybody got pretty low, but it's nothing that healers can't heal through. I'm sure it might be an issue when heroic comes around, but on normal mode, you can just brute force this stuff. Skipping ahead to the next room, it's shadow themed, same setup. This is a big trash bowl I've already pulled here. There's 4 worms, they're non-elite, and then 2 elementals, 2 shadow elementals that like to shadow volley constantly. And then there's a big one in the middle that just sits there for a bit. The only thing you really need to know is you want to try to interrupt their shadow bolts as much as possible, and they're going to drop void zones on the ground. If you let them sit in the void zone, it'll heal them for a lot, so as a tank, it'll be your job to pull them out of there. Once that big one in the back activates, make sure you are grabbing threat. I use heroic throw there to keep him silenced, so that he doesn't start casting his shadow bolt volley right off the bat. And then just keep interrupting him. It shouldn't be a lot of damage. Trash balls are pretty straightforward. And just for the hell of it, I'm gonna kite him. And he doesn't want to be kited. He's just gonna cast it. You can't spell reflect an AoE. What are you doing, you stupid warrior? Trying to spell reflect shadow pool volley. It's like trying to kite a frost mage. Like you're gonna get away. Like he cares that you're running away. It's just gonna frost bolt you to death. And then this guy. What's this guy do again? Ah, this is the guy. This guy you don't need to worry about threat at all. He'll just sit there and randomly shadow bolt people or chaos bolt people. You want you want to get Sunders up to increase the damage, but then it's pretty much a DPS Zerg fight. DPS burn him as fast as he can, or fast as they can rather. He'll shoot those big green and black zones on the ground. Obviously, you want to get out of those, and he'll open portals that'll summon ads. As a tank, you want to get these ads under control as best you can, and then take as little damage from them as possible. Just buy time for the DPS to kill the boss. Effective CCs on these things would be the new Shaman Elemental CC or Ice Traps, so that you don't have to kite them, just get them CC'd. When he's doing that explosion thing, similar to that boss in... Oh, I can't remember the name of that instance. The new one. Yeah, he does the explosion things that ICC 5-man. You guys know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I'm just running around kiting these ads. I'm using Desecration to my advantage. I saw it on the ground there, so I ran them through it. He'll keep spawning portals, so make sure you keep picking up the new ads as they spawn. And use stun, shockwave, heroic leap, charge to kite them, or you can just sit there and tank them too. It's not a big, I don't think it's a lot of damage. And once he's dead, you just collect loot. It's pretty easy. I find that he's the easiest boss of the 4 up here, though other people say otherwise. And then moving on to last but not least, the fire dude. This guy's particularly cool because he drops 2 pieces of loot because he's the last boss. He's special. He loves you more. He gives you more lovin' with his super special lovin' loot. Yeah, I should probably stop talking about stupid shit. But you're gonna come up on these trash mobs here. There's a couple of tricks to these trash mobs that I'm not sure a lot of people know, or whether or not they're intentional or not. Basically, in this pack, you want to be killing the Anubiseth dude-looking guy first. He does a spell you want to interrupt. He's stunnable, so it's not such a big deal. And then you're gonna have the 2 elites fire elementals on his sides. There's a thing with these fire elementals, once they get to about 30 to 20 to 10%, they'll start casting a move called Dispersion. When they start casting it, you want to stun them. Right here, it's a fail stun. For some reason, the stun DR got run up. I believe it's because the rogue tried to stun him. So he does get the Dispersion off. He'll split into smaller versions of himself, but you'll see on the second one, managed to get the stun off and he won't split. Really, it's just a time saver. If you can get the stun off, you have to deal with less ads. It's not too difficult to actually kill them. It's just a waste of time. Why kill more trash if you don't have to? But if you do mess up the stun and they do split, you can try it again on their next splits and stun those and stop them from splitting as well. I think we screwed that up all the way down to the tiniest versions of them here, though. We have to keep killing them. And once these guys are dead, you're going to be moving on to the very last boss of the instance, which is kind of harder than the rest. It's not too difficult, though. It's just a lot of raid damage. Or, sorry, party damage. This fire guy, he casts 2 abilities. I'll be honest, one of them is like called a ruined fire orb. I've never ever seen what it does because I interrupt it every time he tries to cast it. It sounds like it does something bad. I've never let him cast it. He does another ability that's interruptible. It's called some Infernal Leap. But if you don't interrupt it, all he does is jump across the room and drop fire on somebody. He'll jump on top of somebody, just move out of the fire, move out of it, and you won't have to worry about it. The other couple things he does, he'll spawn fire tornadoes. You want to stay out of those. Obviously, tornadoes are bad. Mother Nature is a bitch. You can see one there. Just watch out for it. And he will do like a holy fire to everybody in the raid. That's what the graphic looks like. It's a lot of raid damage. The healer has to heal through it. There's nothing you can do about it. You see that debuff doing nasty ticks of damage on everybody. The big thing is when he gets to about 30-20%, he will run to the middle of the room and he'll start pulsing a fire AoE. This is his main move. It does a lot of damage, but it increases your damage as well. There's 2 ways you can do it. You can use all your defensive cooldowns when he starts pulsing it and run in there and just heal through the damage and burn him as quick as you can. Another method is to just